All right, we're live. We're here with Heidi Araya. She is a founder and principal of Bright Logic, and her work is primarily focused on enabling organizations to move into the age of AI through training, development of chatbots, and automation efforts, primarily for solopreneurs and small, medium sized businesses. She's been doing this for quite some time, and I'm really excited to hear her talk about this presentation. Um, we actually did a podcast earlier, and I've just been filled with a lot of optimism and hope for her spreading this word. Thank you very much for coming, Haiti, and
Thank
yeah,
you so much. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm so excited to be here today, talking to you about thriving in an AI world and how it's going to change our world, really, our the careers that we might have and the skills that we might need, right? So, I spent half of my career helping companies survive amidst rapid change, and in that process, I had to adapt to change also. So that's my story. And one last note, of course, every image in this deck is AI generated except for one. So I'm going to let folks guess which one that is.
interesting. All right, I'll let you have at it then.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah. Again, thank you so much, everyone. I appreciate being here. I'm really passionate about sharing this information because I personally had to learn to live and adapt in a rapidly changing world that started when I graduated university in December 1991 with a degree in Russian and linguistics after studying aerospace engineering. I was dreaming of a career building bridges between Soviets and Americans. And then on December 25th, 1991, I saw the Soviet hammer and sickle flag lowered for the last time over the Kremlin. I realized immediately that this meant a flood of Russian speaking people to the US. Clearly, I had to rethink my career before it even started. I didn't even have the diploma in my hand yet, and my career was out of date. That was just the first of many wrinkles as I lived through navigating computers in the workplace and the internet, the dot-com crash, recessions, and so on. So I was a researcher, a technical writer, an agile coach. I led large change initiatives inside organizations. And along the way, I grew a really finely tuned radar for when things would change, and therefore was able to remain employed for over 30 years with barely a break in employment, despite leaving jobs voluntarily without another one and all those layoffs and 5 layoffs in all those years. So I knew my old career was coming to an end, but that is another story. So I hope that by the end of this talk, you will understand why I'm uniquely qualified to speak about evolving and thriving in an uncertain job market and an exponentially uncertain world driven by technology changes, and also why I'm passionate about helping others on this journey. So I've spent over 25 years helping companies be more adaptable, productive, and efficient. I really always had this productivity mindset, and I saw this holistic approach where people were just focusing on individual processes, and I saw the whole end-to-end process. So for over a year, I have been diving deep into AI, took an applied data science program at MIT. I'm on the Value Stream Management Consortium Board of Directors, and I raise butterflies in Florida. And really what I say I do is really it's about AI enablement for small solopreneurs, startups, and small businesses. And just as I was getting started with this, of course, the job market in tech really tanked. So, since November of last year, I have been studying various reports and information sources on the current job market in tech and outside tech. And just FYI, for those of you outside the US, I had to focus on the US for this part because it's not possible to cover the whole world, but you can take the information that I have gathered for you, and I'm going to help you figure out where you can look in your own in country, what kinds of things. So most of the layoff information that I could find is in the US. In the US, the economy is pretty good. We've actually had almost 3 years of consecutive job growth. That means every month we're adding new jobs. Our unemployment is still pretty low, although it's inched up just a bit. However, over 22% of the unemployed have been so for 27 weeks or more. So that's almost 7 months. So you're thinking like, what's going on here? There's a bit of mixed signals, and that's exactly what's going on. Layoffs are unfortunately still happening in tech. I pulled these numbers yesterday, and they had just added. So I'm filtered the tech employees to the U.S. There are over 100,000 this year worldwide, but 73,000 of those have been laid off. And the right side, though, shows this picture of those jobs being added. And what tells us here is that health and government are leading in job growth, and the trades are also doing well. So the overall job market is stable. The plus plus on the right-hand side there means that those are the job creation is actually exceeding expectations, right? And so what's happening in tech is that we're suffering more than everyone else in the economy right now because it's affecting us more than other folks. And we're struggling because for the first time in history, since tech came on the scene and people were employed and doing lots and lots of lots and lots of jobs in software, it was always a sure bet, but no longer. So we find ourselves struggling. These were some of the best paying jobs ever. And so while we could move to different careers, they look very, very differently. Let me give you an example. A friend of mine was thinking about moving to become an ultrasound technician. Then she realized, I can't work at home. I have to be in an office without windows for 8 hours a day, tending to patients. And of course, the trades are also doing really well. And plumbers tend to be in short supply right now in the US. But how many people are going to want to move from tech to plumbing? So you see this kind of a challenge and dichotomy here where we're struggling in tech and the rest of the economy isn't doing bad. But if I'm telling you that the economy is decent, what is going on and why tech companies are doing layoffs? First of all, they have been blaming COVID over hiring for years. All right, now we're back to pre-COVID levels, so no more excuses there. Higher interest rates definitely exist. They have been higher than they have been since the tech boom existed. That impacts a lot of businesses who would get loans. Thirdly, we have tax law changes called Section 174 that very few people were talking about. But what it meant is that all costs related to R&D cannot be expensed. They have to be capitalized and amortized. So now companies have to save more money. They have all of a sudden these huge tax burdens that they didn't have before. All right, another factor. You've got the market rewarding the behavior of layoffs with higher stock prices, which is just incredibly stupid. But they're not actually struggling financially in many cases. So they're doing layoffs. And of course, along with this, you can imagine if all these companies are doing layoffs like Microsoft, Google, and all these big tech giants, and their stock goes up. And if you're a CEO and you haven't done layoffs yet, your board is going to look at you and say, what, are you dumb? You better do some layoffs because clearly it's working for these other companies. That's the sad, factor. And lastly, I do believe some companies are now seeing they also, like you, should be preparing for uncertainty and change. And so they might be shoring up the cash reserves. What are we not seeing though, right? AI, layoffs due to AI are not yet a major factor. There are some companies that are blaming AI. There is one company in particular that says they're not going to hire anymore because they're going to let natural attrition take place. But I think the majority of companies who are doing layoffs and blaming AI are kind of using it as a scapegoat. AI is not at the place yet where it can replace people wholesale. So what can I do to help you? So if you're job hunting right now, search for industries that are hiring, right? In the US, these are now healthcare, education, government, manufacturing, construction, some social services also. Also, you seek for smaller firms. There's going to be less competition than for those big, FAANG companies. The other one that might be hard for you to swallow, because I love working remotely, is look for on-site and hybrid roles in your city because there's going to be a lot less competition. So if that is an option for you, then also consider that. Those are 3 things that might help you get a job more quickly than if you had just done this global job search. So I'm telling you that AI isn't the cause for a lot of layoffs, but it has changed the world dramatically, of course. And my job currently wouldn't exist if it hadn't been for AI. Education is changing. The way job searches are conducted, coding, content creation, all those mass emails that you get that seem very personalized, everything you could imagine, right? 1 year ago, I was working as an enterprise transformation consultant after being laid off from my role as a director at a large tech company, which had been sold. AI actually gave me some new purpose because I knew my career was ending. So I was able to leverage this momentum of transitioning my old career to a new career. But I saw how it could help me specifically build agendas for workshops, build out the structure for a book I wanted to write. And I felt like I could do anything. Right? So when I was laid off again, I decided to take the leap, do a data science program at MIT, and start building those chatbots, which I'm still doing today. And I love that also. But in this AI impact on jobs, our jobs in technology are going to be significantly changed by AI. This is from the World Economic Forum report that came out in September 2023. Now, when it says our tasks will be altered significantly, that doesn't mean replaced completely. So we'll have to navigate those changes. So only 1% of the the tasks that we do today in tech are going to have no impact. But again, there are all kinds of speculative articles out there that say jobs will be lost, and some, not all of them, say that jobs will be lost. There are some that say that AI could contribute up to almost $16 trillion to the global economy. I personally think that people are very innovative, and I already see lots of AI tools being built around large language models and this other generative AI tools. So I do believe that we're going to see a rate of change that's going to begin to feed off of each other. New tools and new careers and new things will be created. But I do not believe that the state of AI today is one where it's just going to wholesale replace a lot of people, because someone still has to direct the AI. But let's talk about why AI still is so powerful, even at the state it is today, and it's still pretty nascent. For me, it was about the widespread democratization of knowledge. When I signed up for my program at MIT, and the program manager said to me, "But Heidi, why this? Why now?" And I said, "If not now, then when? When am I going to have this opportunity again? I'm going to dive deep." I now have access to almost every knowledge in the world, just like having data from Star Trek sitting next to me, or maybe connected to the Borg hive mind. I could leverage it to ask any question that I wanted to. And I certainly don't think I would have been successful as I was in my data science program if I hadn't been able to ask my data science study buddy, which was a custom GPT I built, and I asked it constant chats and helped me with Python and helped me think like a data scientist. And all those things is at your beck and call. All you have to do is ask it, right? Those things used to cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to gain this knowledge, like lawyers, medical questions, medical doctors. So this is your opportunity to leverage this and upskill yourself as soon as possible in your career. So you too can acquire this knowledge if you have focus, a direction, and a passion for learning. So one of the things that I've noticed in doing my research is that while there are layoffs in tech, the AI category of jobs has a huge growth. Like machine learning specialists have risen, and a 35% increase in data scientists. Of course, data analytics and statistics are huge now, and AI consultants, of which I now call myself one. So there are this category of jobs that's going to grow much, much more rapidly than other jobs. But what do you do if you're maybe not one of those? I categorize these emerging jobs in AI into these four different categories here. There are emerging jobs that are already known, so the technical development and innovation is going to be around the technical aspect of it, data scientists, engineers, system integrators, IT support, and so on. But there are also those who support those people inside the company and outside to facilitate adoption and application of AI, where you're not actually doing the creation, but you're supporting. So you might be educating people on AI, training them on AI competencies, exploring innovative applications of AI, might be project managing an AI initiative or an ML initiative. We might be doing other kinds of product management around AI. How do we embed this in our product? So that category is going to be absolutely huge. And of course, we're going to have lots of governance, ethics, and research advocacy and public policy, like the research part, like you saw the speaker do before. But I think there's a huge opportunity for most of you in this call where we can talk about the strategic application of AI and how it's going to be integrated into our day-to-day work. So this is actually a photo of a taxi in New York City in the early 1900s. There used to be tens of thousands of them and people supporting their needs in New York City. We had veterinarians caring for the horses, farriers that do the shoes for the horses, the feed, the repairing the taxis, and so on. Those were all gone within 10 years of the advent of the vehicle. But do we want to go back to horses? I don't think so. So you can tell that our jobs will be transformed probably very rapidly. In fact, 23% of our jobs look to be transformed in just 3 years. 12 million of us are going to switch jobs, and 9 million of us are going to end up in new industries. But have faith, because 60% of the jobs that exist today have only been created since 1940. And the analogy I use is no one could have predicted that people would be jazzing up their vehicles and painting them and adding big boom boxes and doing high riders and low riders. So this kind of innovation is going to lead to new occupations we cannot even imagine today. In fact, Darren Acemoglu, professor at MIT, thinks that only a quarter of AI-exposed tasks will be cost-effective to automate. So even if we could automate them, we won't be automating them. However, it is true that AI skills are becoming an absolute job requirement today. This is from a Microsoft study that came out a few weeks back. 66% of leaders are requiring AI skills, and almost 3/4 are going to pick a less experienced person who has deep AI skills than one with more experienced but without AI skills. So definitely that should be on your radar. So let me tell you a little bit about that. The number one predictor of an AI power user is how frequently they experiment with AI tools. So I do with some clients, I have AI enablement coaching. And so I had one client say, this is AI is just so dumb and it's wrong. And so, but working together with her, we were able to help her get an experimental mindset where she doesn't think it's, she used words like it's sleazy, it's lazy. She learned to experiment better. She learned to integrate it into her practice. And then what you should do is be sharing, learn how others do it. There are people sharing on LinkedIn. And then you should share what you learn as well inside of your workplace, or if you're looking for a job, share what you've learned on LinkedIn or some other social media platform. You create your own future with this AI first mindset. So when I take a walk in the morning, I sometimes talk to the ChatGPT to think through things. It's a great partner like that. That was a lot of slides to talk about AI. And let's take another step back, because just like my career had multiple evolutions of first the computers were in the workplace, then we had internet, and then we had other things. It's not just AI. There are technological advances way beyond AI. Of course, they're going to have a smear of AI all over it. But I'm not going to read this whole list, but those advanced technologies coming, and with that, we will need to prepare even more for this kind of change, right? So just think about the buildings that are being built with 3D printers today. That's already happening. So maybe you see some advanced technologies here besides AI that really excite you and that you really want to explore. So this is another angle that I encourage folks to just be prepared for. It's not just AI, but all those other things that are going on. The world is going to live and run on these advanced technologies, and those who not only not only use it, but understand it deeply will be much better leveraged. It's going to be an imperative to understand the nuts and bolts. I'm not saying coding, but to understand how it works in enough detail to have a conversation with a data scientist or ML engineer if you're interested in AI, or if you're interested in blockchain, to describe in detail how that stuff works so that you can have a conversation, be prepared to talk about it. And I'm not here to bore you with statistics, but I did take this excerpt from the World Economic Forum report, which they gathered from a bunch of sources. This chart shows you the share of organizations that expect each technology to create or displace jobs. So the blue bar is the job creation expectation, and the purple bar is the job reduction. There are a lot of technologies in this list, even aside from AI, but you can see that big data analytics tops the list, followed by climate change and environmental management, cybersecurity. There are tens upon tens of jobs listed here that will see huge increases over the next few years. So keep an eye on these jobs. You can leverage the skills you already have in your niche to create a niche knowledge, like how can VR be used with climate change, or AI and cybersecurity, or whatever area you're interested in. The integration of these disciplines is going to be key. That will be your superpower. Your domain knowledge plus AI is going to be your superpower, because, of course, only you have your own expertise. And that's what's going to bridge the gap between pure tech and the practical application for it. Because I can say here, I just want to learn AI, but that's so broad and it's not a differentiator at all. But if you can say, I am specializing in learning how AI is going to impact doctors specifically in their practices, or some application, a practical application of AI. AI alone solves no business purpose. We use AI for a reason. And when you figure out the reason and how you can integrate that with your domain knowledge, that is going to be a superpower that you have. Because of the rapid changes, you are going to have to invest in lifelong learning. So we can't, I never had a set it and forget it kind of a career, but now even more, we're going to have to think about how we keep learning every single day. To avoid career debt, you're going to make space to learn continually. And then you're going to build your expertise Aegis. And Aegis is a shield. So when you engage in deep, lifelong learning, you are going to find yourself always employable and build that expertise Aegis where nothing bad can touch you. Speaking about skills, it's projected that in 2027, 50% of the US population will be freelancing. That does not mean they won't maybe also have full-time jobs, but we have realized that more and more people want this flexibility in their schedule. We have more aging workers who want to just keep working maybe part-time or not full-time. These platforms for gig workers now exist. More people want to live and work anywhere and have this flexible kind of work style. So as automation and technology become part of every workplace, the focus is going to shift more from our rigid job duties to emphasizing these skills. And the roles are going to evolve very rapidly. So get ready for evolving job responsibilities and a very skills-based workplace. So you will have, probably employers are going to start leveraging skills-based assessments, both in hiring and in your current job. So if you're not continually keeping upskilled, even when you are full-time employed, you probably won't be picked for the projects that require those skills. So I encourage you to keep understanding what your employer wants and upskill in those areas. The slide are the skills that employers say they want and need. And so that's great news. You probably possess many of these skills already. But take a look at number one and be aware that I thought I had lots of analytical thinking up until I did my data science course. It turns out there's a whole science on data analytics and business statistics that I had missed out on. So if you have never formally studied business statistics or data analytics, you may want to look there, given it's top on the list. And if you're job searching, be prepared to demonstrate to employers how you have exhibited these skills. But again, pay attention to number 6, because I believe without that, you won't get to leverage many of your other amazing skills as much. And also, lastly, these future needed skills are from the employer perspective. So it's not holistic about what you need as a human. So I'm going to talk about that in just a couple more slides. The skills that remain relevant for jobs remain the same. You possess these skills. No one is going to really help you do your own time management. You can get a productivity AI coach, but you still have to do the work. Empathy is not something that any AI can replace for you. And your collaboration skills and creative problem solving, those are all skills that will remain not only relevant, but you're going to need them more than ever. And I believe that people will want to begin to meet in person more than ever due to AI. I think they're going to miss this online and AI generated avatars everywhere. If you haven't noticed it, we're living in an age of extreme change and uncertainty. And I told you my career was never stable. I saw the world changing around me. So what do? I realized last year that I had been leveraging these 6 skills that helped me thrive. And I decided I wanted to share my message of how to thrive in an uncertain world, which for those of us who are working age probably means the major impact will be on the jobs that we can get. And my message to you is to thrive in an exponentially uncertain world, we have to be prepared to disrupt ourselves continually. And I have created those 6 skills. And those are the ones that I'm going to share with you. The ones that have helped me evolve my career over the past 30 plus years, see what was coming, be prepared for change, learn to survive events in my life, and also pivot my career very, very quickly from one to doing something entirely different than I have ever done before. So these are the 6 crucial skills that I believe people need to survive in an era of AI and exponential change. Like I said, I was able to pivot my old career into, in a matter of months, to doing something I had never done before, and being a business owner and helping small businesses where I had worked in software enterprises before. By harnessing these skills, you can stay prepared and adapt, positioning yourself to succeed in an increasingly unpredictable future. So without further ado, I'm going to share these with you. The first skill is ingenuity. Ingenuity is about continuous learning, creativity, and experimentation. And I call it explore the edges of your career. What haven't you poked at yet? What are the experts saying in your field? Ingenuity is not a spectator sport. You must do. So pick an area of interest, conquer your fears, get your hands dirty with something. For me, it was coding and doing a data science program. If you can combine your skills in novel ways, given your experience. Last year I woke up and I realized that I was still waiting for the magic phone call to happen, for someone to offer me a role or a job. And ultimately, I didn't want that. Right. So I realized I had to rescue myself, be proactive, do the work, and then you will see things happen. The second skill is tech literacy. This is a talk about thriving in a technologically powered world. So I can't pretend that this is not important. Pick a technology, go deep with it, figure out how to use it, or learn something new every day. Again, this doesn't mean coding, but figure out how to leverage AI in your current niche, in your life, so that you can upskill yourself. And remember that whatever other technology you choose is going to have AI smeared all over it. And put this knowledge that you're gaining. So say you take a Coursera course on a generative AI or something, put the learning into practice by integrating it into your daily work. And don't forget that, because otherwise it will just fall back and you will forget it. The third skill is intentionality. This is about focusing on something deeply and saying no to things. So I had to say no to a lot of things when I was doing my data science program. I had to learn to just manage my attention effectively. Again, you will be picking up a lot of things. I love being a generalist, and that's one of my challenges, but I had to learn to just stay there very, very focused. If you work on too many things at one time, you will not make progress on anything, like trying to read 10 books at a time and just making progress on 5 pages a night. There's nothing more powerful than focus for yourself, your job search, or whatever it is. When you get really clear about what you do want, that's also when things begin to happen. So just try, one thing at a time. The next skill is resilience. And this is the one I think might resonate with people. This is one that people pick up as their favorite one. A lot of things have happened over the years. In 30 years of my career, like lots of not nice things and challenging moments in life, but I had to find a way through those to be happy and hopeful, because it's not productive to sit and just stew in it. I learned to meditate, think happy thoughts daily, read a lot of books on how to make this happen, take ownership of my health, and realize that I couldn't control everything. And lots of my anxiety was caused by trying to control the uncontrollable and not listening to what my heart was saying enough. And I'm sharing this story with you because what's important is not where you are today or even where you were in the past, but the journey you're taking to continually improve that resilience to uncertainty and being okay with whatever is today, instead of being frustrated or upset with the current state. The fifth skill is community. This is so important. The whole reason that Homo sapiens survived is because we were able to collaborate. There were other human-like races, but they didn't band together and support each other. If we want to survive in an uncertain world, in this interconnected world, being part of a community is essential. So I recommend that you find a community. There are lots of them out there for job seekers, job search council, things that you're interested in, whether it's AI or anything else. Build relationships and networks. That will increase the surface area for opportunities for you. And it's about the ecosystem, right? Building an ecosystem that's going to sustain itself is not just about you, but it's about everyone involved. So all of these things that you're doing with your community are going to drastically improve your chances of getting a job if you don't have one. But also, people will lift you up, and they will always be there for you. And in my talks, there are always people that attend my talks that I've known for many, many years. They continue to support me. The last skill is diversification. And this is something that I don't see a lot of people talking about. It is very, very important for you personally in an uncertain world to figure out ways to diversify your income and your investments. I don't mean that you shouldn't get a full-time job or you should have 3 part-time jobs. But if you do have a job, find ways that you could diversify your investments, maybe long-term, short-term. Is it real estate? Is it tangible, intangible investments? When you are more diversified, you are more shielded against risk when something happens. So if you do lose your job or if the stock market tanks, you're not invested in just one thing. We don't know what the future holds. We have to make multiple bets and plant multiple seeds for whatever multiple futures are there. And that is what diversification is all about. So those are the 6 skills that have served me well, and they, I believe, will serve you well in a world that relies on AI and other advanced technologies, one that's changing extremely rapidly. I really hope this talk helped you understand where the market's going, why you should embrace AI, and also the skills that are going to serve you well. Thank you so much. I'd love your feedback. You can scan the QR code and comment to help me improve it.
Thank you very much, Haiti. That was wonderful. Um, yeah, I hope that people that watch and rewatch this session um, get a get a pragmatic lift into how they can navigate this with actionable insight. And I didn't think the statistics were boring at all. I think that they were quite insightful, and it paints the context as to what we're doing and how we're navigating this shifting trends. I know a lot of people are concerned and trying to figure out what to do with all these layoffs, but there are options, and the statistics paint the picture as to how we should migrate together. I think, yeah, Margaret said really nice talk, and she said the last photo of you I think is not AI generated. I think that one is. I think the one that's the real one is you walking through the fire with the Captain America.
Oh, right. Yeah. The real one was actually the taxis in New York City. That was the actual photo from like 1911 or so.
Excellent. Well, if you want to get in touch with Haiti, she's available through LinkedIn. She's quite active there, and she's always open to have a conversation, even if you're just trying to get to figure out what the next step in your career should be, or if you have any automation chatbot initiatives that you want to launch. She's great. So
Thank you so much. Yeah, one of my fun niches is course creators and content creators. So I have lots of solopreneurs that have reached out to me because they want to share their knowledge more widely. And so that's one of the ones that is actually a really cool niche to have.
well, thank you again, and yeah, reach out.
Thank you so much.